On today's show, Paul George, another procedure. How cooked are the 76ers, and NBA Summer League continues? We had some pretty clutch moments. Today's Locked On NBA Game Night right now.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Tipping off now.
And welcome to the Locked On NBA Game Night. My name is Nick Angstadt, host of the Locked On Mavericks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being an every day here, making Locked On NBA your first listen. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. And joining me from Locked On Knicks, we switched roles, we switched days, but we're doing it again here. Summer League from Locked On Knicks, Gavin Schall. What'd you see in the NBA tonight?
Good to see you again, man. Kyle Filipowski, long time. Another huge performance. Dylan Harper, a little tougher going game 2. Kon Knueppel bounces back. The Hornets fans in the comments will be happy with what I have to say about him. Going to be a good one.
And it's good to make Hornets fans happy. They need it. They need to be happy about something.
They were really on me last show. I can't say anything in response to that.
Today's episode, we're going to get into Summer League. We'll talk about the Hornets. We'll talk about the Bulls guys a little bit too. And then we'll talk about that crazy finish between Utah and the Spurs. Hawks and Rockets also had kind of an interesting ending. And then we'll play Count It Up, where we count out the most interesting things in the NBA, including Victor Wembanyama cleared to play, but he had some comments about trading for a star player and a bunch of other things. We'll talk about that. But let's start here. Paul George, another procedure. Arthroscopic procedure on his left knee to treat an injury, according to Shams Charania, and he will be reevaluated prior to the start of training camp. Not really something that you want to hear if you are a Sixers fan, but if you are a Sixers fan, you should be hearing from Locked On Sixers, and here's our guy Mark Farzetta on this.
Much for the question as to whether or not the 76ers can stay healthy in the upcoming regular season to compete for an NBA title when they can't even stay healthy in an off season. Shams Charania of ESPN putting it out there that Paul George recently suffered an injury to his knee during an off-season workout and had to have surgery on Monday to repair it. That's right, 35 years old, making $51.6 million in the upcoming season, only played 41 games last year, and still can't stay healthy through his off-season workout. So Joel Embiid's barely been on a court doing any basketball activities in the offseason. At least Tyrese Maxey said the other day that he's feeling pretty good. And your third overall pick, VJ Edgecombe, has barely played in the Summer League thanks to a thumb or wrist injury. What was it, Daryl Morey? Not looking great for the Sixers to compete in the upcoming season in what's supposed to be a wide-open Eastern Conference.
I was going to use this as a counted up question at first. I was thinking about it. And so I'm just going to throw the counted up question at you first, Gavin Schall. Count it up. Using the steak temperature levels, how cooked are Paul George and the 76ers?
Oh my God. I'm going to say a solid medium, just because they've done like an exceptionally good job on the margins in some ways. If not, this would be a complete disaster. But obviously, Tyrese Maxey looks like one of the best couple of point guards in the NBA. He's exceptionally good, going to be perennial all-star. VJ Edgecombe, we only got one game of it because he got hurt, though. He's cleared to practice. Sounds like he'll play in their next one. But he looked exceptional in their first game. Quentin Grimes, if they managed to re-sign him, was fantastic down the stretch that season. And Jared McCain was arguably on track to be Rookie of the Year before he got hurt, like everyone in Philadelphia seems to. So those are like the shining lights. Everything else is bad. Everything else is cooked. You talk about them like it was like you rewind like a half year ago. It was a hot take to be like, well, they could just trade Embiid and trade Paul George and pivot. And now it's like, how do they trade Embiid? How do they trade Paul George and pivot? Because those are not positive value contracts right now. Maybe Embiid could change that. I don't know. It's scary.
Joel Embiid also, according to Tony Jones of The Athletic, has not returned to on-court activities. Mm-hmm. And there's Daryl Morey and them are still optimistic that he will be on the floor for the season opener. But I don't know. We're not too far away, right? We're like August, September, October, 3 months away, and he has not done on-court activities. That to me does not seem like something you should be optimistic about from returning. And I mean, their title hopes are well done. They're cooked. Like their title hopes. If you're thinking like the version of the Sixers that you think, where you're like, all right, they're a win now situation, a Joel Embiid MVP guy, Paul George coming in, like that version of the 76ers is just completely cooked to me. Like all the way done, past well done, where you look at it and you go, this was once a nice piece of meat and now it is no longer edible. Like it all well done.
I'm a vegan. This was a tough question for me. Sorry, Nick.
I don't know, a well done cauliflower steak. I don't know.
Yeah, there we go. I'm back in. Sorry, go ahead.
You know how the levels work, though, right?
Yeah. No, I thought the so I'll pivot to medium well because I thought you were saying like the more raw they were, but you said cook. It makes sense. Medium well.
That makes so much more sense. I forgot that you were a vegan.
That's I know about meat. I eat meat. We're really getting sidetracked. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Meat is murder. You're right. Yeah. Okay, let's go. So. Their title hopes are completely done, but they do have a future, like you said. Like they do have some young guys, and it does kind of seem like they're all right. Let's just pivot to what's coming next, which is kind of nice. So like the Sixers as a franchise, I don't think are cooked, but their title hopes are just completely out the window. It is wild to see what has happened to this team, and they also kind of didn't really add a lot this offseason. Beside they lost, Gershon Yabusele. They're still in talks with Quentin Grimes, and they added Edgecombe, but then other than that, like it's not like they've really pushed this forward anymore either.
No, and I think the Yabusele loss looms really, really large. He was fantastic for them, playing both the 4 and the 5, filling in for PG on some nights, filling in for Embiid on the other nights. I don't really see the 4s on this roster, or like even the 3s, like the bigger wings that could play at either spot. You have Kelly Oubre, you have Justin Edwards, who had a really solid rookie year. And like that is, maybe I'm completely blanking on someone, and maybe they'll sign someone sort of last second, but that feels like it's pretty much it for them. Like they were
Watford, they signed.
Yeah,
they were really confident there.
And they got Walker from the Blazers, who I like and is a good player. But man, like it felt like they needed Paul George to play a ton of games, but that was like from the get-go a dumb thing to rely on when he's played over 56 games just once in the last 6 seasons. Last year was like the worst season of his career that he's had since his second season in the NBA. 16 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, just 43% from the field, 36% from 3. I mean, even and look, he was playing through multiple injuries. He was gutting it out last year. This is the same knee that caused him to miss a lot of that time a year ago, but you just cannot rely on this guy in any significant way at this point. Obviously, all the same things could be said about Embiid. And now, like, to Mark's point, like, I don't know what the goal is next year, because remember when they were trying, they were sort of on the periphery of the playoffs last year. And Daryl Morey, like, smartly said, no, screw this. We're not doing that. And they finished whatever, like 3-25, while Quentin Grimes got to put up 30 a game, which is now making it much tougher to negotiate with him, ironically. But like the East is like, they are at a point with their roster where if they're mostly healthy otherwise, and they get like 50 games each from Embiid and Paul George, you can get a top 6 seed. You can duck the play-in. You could maybe talk yourself into like, well, if we just have those guys in the court, we could beat anyone. Because I still kind of think that's true. If the version of Embiid we saw 2 years ago in the playoffs, or a year and a half ago in the playoffs, is still there, I just don't know how it all comes together. And like, frankly, like they're pushing that point where like you can't really count on them to be a top 6 team, even in a depleted East, because you have no idea if Embiid and PG will even hit that 50-game mark.
Janai Broom from Auburn shooting 80% from 3 in summer league, 2 games, but he's taking like five total. But
yeah,
maybe that's your 4 answer. There really isn't a lot, like you said. Yeah, it's just fascinating to look at this situation and to see how they're going to get out of it. But man, both those injuries and Joel Embiid not returning is just brutal. Let's talk about one summer league game here. I thought that the Bulls had a really interesting look at some of their guys. Noah Senge, Montes Buzelis obviously playing. Let's hear from our guy Hayes on both of those guys for the Bulls.
The Chicago Bulls got a glimpse of what they're hoping their future is going to look like with Noah Senge and Montes Buzelis, their draft picks of the last 2 years, combining for 49 points in this game. This is a game where Montes Buzelis, going into his second year in the league, really looked like the best player on the court for the majority of the game, was confidently taking shots, taking players off the dribble, got to the free throw line a bunch today, which I think was really big for him. And then the rookie in Noah Senge today as well, like he's steadily got better each of the 3 preseason games so far for the Chicago Bulls, progressively more aggressive in each one of the games so far, and this was his best one yet. He got a quiet 21 points, and I think that's a lot when you look at his game and how he lacks refinement offensively a little bit. He was able to really just smoothly get those 21 points tonight and scored very well. This is, again, what the Bulls front office is hoping is a glimpse of what the future is going to be with these two versatile forwards that they've drafted in back-to-back years.
The Bulls situation is kind of interesting because you look at them and they're like, all right, this is a boring team. They haven't really done a lot, but like they very slowly become like this young team now. Josh Giddey, Buzelis, Asenge, but both those guys had solid games today. I guess you throw Kobe White in there maybe too, but like they do have some young talent now, and they are now like this young team, I guess, with Vooch still at center. But other than that, like they have now become a little interesting with their young guys where they haven't in the past.
Yeah, I think Buzelis and Kobe White are definitely the two guys that intrigue me there. We'll see if Kobe White is long for that team. But I mean, Buzelis is just ridiculous. Like I don't know what kind of cap to put on that guy. Obviously, still very, very young. Feels like he could just be like one of the better cutters in the NBA. Like obviously got overshadowed by what Johnny Furphy did, but he had just an absolute like monster spring-loaded dunk at one point. Like his ability when he has a mismatch to turn like a face up into a post up and get into his bag there, like pivoting a couple of ways, like throwing in a jump hook at one point, has that Donovan Mitchell, Dwayne Wade high pickup at 6'10" that I don't really know how you guard. Essengay, to Hayes' point, really encouraging performance from him after I think he was a little disappointing, especially when you consider that a lot of people were clowning the Bulls for this. If you trust what Joe Dumars said, they offered Chicago that exact same trade of a free unprotected Pelicans first round pick next year. And the Bulls were like, we really like Essengay, and they're going to need for him to, for like so many of these guys, the shot is the swing skill. He's going to have to hit threes to be a 4 versus a 5. I thought he looked really good, both on the short roll, like had a nice little like power dribble into a smooth fadeaway, got a jam off of Spain action, shot the 3 much better after starting Summer League, just 1 for 7. He was 3 for 8, toasted a closeout at one point. That was certainly a strength of his international game. I'm disappointed Hayes didn't shout out Yuki Kawamura. Nick, I'm not sure if you saw the end of this game, but he was aura farming at the end of this game. He had the behind the head pass to who was it? Liberty. And then Buzelis, Freeman Liberty, and then Buzelis had the dunk on it. And there was another one where he had to save it half court, jumping behind the back pass to Buzelis to Freeman Liberty for a dunk. He's a lot of fun. I hope he somehow gets some minutes for them this year.
I'm okay with Yuki aura farming in Summer League for sure. So the Bulls, kind of an interesting young situation. Now coming up, let's talk about the Hornets young guys, Kon Knueppel bounce back game. Also, Kyle Filipowski, it's his city, Gavin. It's his city. Let's talk about all that and more coming up. Locked On NBA Game Night continues. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you by FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, Summer League, NBA, if you're betting on Summer League, we love Summer League. We talk about it every day here, but if you're betting on it, just I don't know, text the number or call the number. Whatever the number is. Go check out FanDuel. All kinds of great stuff on there as well. I got great stuff on my Dallas Wings. Paige Beckers has her own tab on the WNBA thing. If you think she's going to continue her streak of 10 plus points, 25 consecutive games is 105 plus 105, 30 consecutive games plus 210, 33 consecutive games plus 290. And then to break the record, 34 consecutive games with 10 or more points. That's plus 320. So if you feel great about that, put down $5. If it's your first $5 bet, you can get $150 in bonus bets. If that wins, visit the FanDuel app today. Go to FanDuel.com to get started. Please gamble responsibly. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Locked On NBA Big Board. We've got a daily show that covers your favorite team. Go check out Locked On Knicks, Locked On Mavs. Great stuff all the time from those shows, whoever hosts those. Then go check out Locked On Sixers with Mark Farzetta and Keith Pompey. They'll be breaking down. They should have a doctor on and just talk about injuries a lot of the time over there. But great stuff all the time. Check the link in the description to find the favorite show for you. All right, let's talk about some more Summer League things. The Charlotte Hornets get a win against my Dallas Mavericks, quote unquote Dallas Mavericks, because no Cooper Flag, and that was a really rough watch if you're a Dallas Mavericks fan. Just like offense was not happening at all for this team. Let's hear from our guy Doug Branson about what the Hornets did though.
Gets his groove back in Las Vegas, and the Charlotte Hornets, they get another win, 3-0 now in Summer League, this time over the Dallas Mavericks. Kon Knueppel, the story, 16 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. Huge bounce-back game after a poor showing in Game 1 and then had to sit in Game 2 due to precautionary reasons over an ankle injury that he sustained during the draft workout process. A little rough start for him in the first quarter, but I thought really quarters 2 through 4, he dominated for the Charlotte Hornets on both ends. Defensively, he was disrupting plays in transition. Offensively, despite the fact that Dallas, I think, keyed in on him, they were switching, they were doubling, they were definitely, Ryan Nembhard was all over Kon Knueppel. He was able to finally get free off some screens. The Hornets finally getting some action for him, and he knocks down some three-pointers. He gets into the teeth of the defense and dishes to guys like P.J. Hall and Ryan Kalkbrenner. He gets his confidence back, and the Charlotte Hornets get a third win, one more, and they could be going to this Summer League postseason. Listen, I know it's Summer League, but we'll take any postseason action we can get over here at Locked On Hornets.
Kon Knueppel, like you said, 16 points and 10 rebounds, 4 assists as well, steal and a block. He got free. His shot was going. He was chucking some shots up there that you're like, oh my gosh, don't take that. And then he made him. And I just think with Kon Knueppel, I'm curious what his role is going to be with this Hornets team. They've got gunners. They've got Brandon Miller. They've got, LaMelo Ball. Is he just going to be the catch and shoot guy? Is he going to have opportunity to handle the ball? And I'm sure with, if some injuries happen, then he will be able to. I'm curious what his role is going to be. The other thing about Knueppel in this game is that the Mavs attacked him a lot. The Mavs did not have the right personnel to attack him well. I don't think it's to turn him into points, but that was definitely the Mavs' strategy, is to attack Kon Knueppel over and over again. And that is something that I'm watching for when we go to the next level for the NBA as well with Kon Knueppel. And so trying to figure out his role both defensively and offensively for that team.
The Mavs were insulting my guy. Not only were they attacking him, they put Ryan Nembhard, who's half a foot shorter than him, on him for the bulk
5'11"
of the first quarter. And they're like, all right, Kon, clearly you can only score in transition. What are you going to do about it? And he responded in a big way. Doug hinted at it, but I think the element there that impressed me the most was the interior passing, taking Kon. I misspoke last episode at 4, not 3. The logic of it is that he is going to be a secondary initiator off of Brandon Miller, off of LaMelo Ball, off of Miles Bridges, as long as Bridges is there. But he's going to have to do some stuff with the ball in his hands, right? Not purely an off-ball weapon, just because that is such a rare player type to be a borderline star as just an off-ball guy. You almost need to be Michael Porter Jr. and be 6'8", 6'9" out there. Clay, you just have to be such a special shooter. Maybe Kon gets to that point where he's that, and maybe that's part of the bet too. But I do think there's going to have to be an element of off the dribble playmaking, which we know obviously someone like Klay Thompson has, and I think he showed a lot of that in this one. Early on in this game, sped by on a deep Kalk screen. Kalkbrenner screen. I think it was at half court, and then rose up as if he was going to shoot, baited the Mavs big, and then slipped it to Kalk, continuing to roll for a layup. That was really good manipulation for him. At one point, early third quarter, misses a short jumper, gets it back, one times it around his head on this is a lazy comparison, but a Larry Bird-esque tip for a layup. And then just the handle is something that got so much better over the course of his freshman season at Duke. And you saw it really unlock his offense as that season went along. Just a nasty low behind the back in transition that sent 2 different Mavs defenders going the wrong way. And just one hand lefty slip it to South Carolina legend PJ Hall running the floor for a dunk. And then the final one, Matt Cross was guarding him, little pump, step through Jalen Brunson move. We both know about that, Nick. Slipped it to PJ Hall for a one-handed punch. The shooting was obviously great. Hit a third quarter buzzer beater, hit another wing 3 at one point. To your point on his role, I think some of that secondary creation, when you have someone who is so good at drawing a crowd and is also an elite passer out of a crowd like LaMelo Ball, you want connective, quick decision makers around him to leverage that. And I think part of the great fit for Kon is that he has the shooting, but he also has the quick decision making, and that allows you to kind of amplify what LaMelo Ball does in multiple ways. I don't know if you wanted to move on, but I thought Tijan Salan also had some real flashes, and the shooting from him, between him and McNeely and Kon, a lot of big shooters around LaMelo now.
Yeah, McNeely didn't play in this game, but he's shown some good shooting. Salon had 2 more threes in this one. I saw a comment on Reddit about Kon Knueppel, 10 rebounds and 1 block. We found our starting center.
There you go.
That's one of my big questions. Is who is starting at center for them, and who is defending on this team? That is a huge question that I really don't know, because we mentioned LaMelo Ball, then you have Miles Bridges, then you have Kon Knueppel and Brandon Miller, and you're like, all right, cool. Who's defending it at all in this team? That is going to be a big question for them.
Diabate is the one and only line. Yeah.
And Grant Williams just
stoutly
ACL, holding
Achilles.
Josh Green, my guy, probably playing some defense out there too, running around. Mm-hmm. Utah and the Spurs. I thought that it was one of the most fun ending, maybe the most fun. The announcer said the best game of Summer League so far. And I was like, I think that maybe taken a little far. But they finished an overtime game where Kyle Filipowski, 35 points, 11 rebounds. He's leading Summer League in scoring, hit 5 threes, went to the free throw line 12 times, and he hit the game-winning he hit the shot to go into overtime, which was absolutely massive. He had a 3 at the beginning of overtime, and then Riley Minix hit a turnaround fade for the Spurs in order to win this one. So the Jazz had a really nice one going. The Jazz were down 7 with like 2 minutes left and ended up pushing it to overtime, and then they lose in this one. But what did you see from any of these guys? Filipowski, Dylan Harper, and all them.
Yeah, Filipowski, I know Jazz fans have been judging by the Locked On Jazz comment section. They've been very frustrated with his defense, but offensively, he's been dominant. 23 points, 9 rebounds, 2 stocks so far over 6 Summer League games, if you include the Utah Summer League as well. 53% from the field, 36% from 3, 71% from the line is averaging, as we mentioned, 5.5 fouls a game. If he is going to play some 5 for the Jazz, which with all the size they have, I don't know if he will, but he was one of the worst rim protectors, David Locke noted in his podcast today, regardless of position, like not just for centers. Like he was just flat out one of the worst rim protectors. Like there were plenty of guards you'd rather have at the basket than Kyle Filipowski last year. But in Summer League, obviously that is far less of a concern. The shot drink, I guess, because you've heard this before, is again the swing skill for Kyle Filipowski. The free throws were not really encouraging last year. Was 35% from 3. Last year, it's
kind of the only skill for Kyle. If he's not going to defend the rim, and we're concerned about what else he's going to bring at the NBA level. I mean, that's the one skill. It's like that's got to work to me on the NBA.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is, like, if that's there, it opens up a lot of other stuff, right? Because I do think he is like really credible ability off the dribble. He was a good screener. He was a good offensive rebounder. So offensively, if not defensively, he can do some of those traditional big things. And you saw in this game, right, the threes falling early, and then what does that open up? Like halfway through the fourth quarter, like catches inside left wing, pivots one way, spins back the other, gets to a layup, right? Like big body, like strong lower body in particular, solid footwork, great touch. Like he's a really well-schooled big, and the shot leverages that. The shot allows him to get to that. Had that great blow by and dunk to tie it with 2 seconds left before Minix ended the game. Some really good flashes from him in Summer League. Again, you question like how much does it matter if he can't ultimately defend at an NBA level, but with where the Jazz are at right now, he's gonna have a lot of time to figure that out.
For sure. Dylan Harper maybe has some time. I think the Spurs might want to be a win now team right now. 5 of 16 from the field and got to the free throw line 7 times and 16 points, including one that was really good late, really drive finish that ended up forcing the overtime. But he got blocked at the rim a couple times. I'm curious to see what happens with him. He played 24 minutes, so more than he played in his last game. He's kind of ramping up here a little bit. But some interesting stuff. And it's just obviously the athletic stuff that you see from Dylan Harper is just insane. And I think he's going to fit into that Spurs team pretty well, but it'll be interesting to figure out how he carves out his role. The Hawks and the Rockets also had a really fun one. Ace Newell had 14 points, six fouls, which doesn't foul you out. You get 10 in Summer League, which is nice. Kennedy Chandler, Adonis Arms had good games for the Rockets. Go check out Locked On Rockets, Locked On Hawks for those games. I'll be breaking all those down. Coming up, let's play Count It Up, where we count the most interesting, fun things in the NBA, including Victor Wembanyama and a shot that didn't count but should have in the NBA. We'll talk about that and more. Locked On NBA Game Night continues. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you by Hungry Root. Hungry Root is there for you when you have too much going on. You have too many games. You have too many different things to pay attention to. You have to, do laundry. You got to drive yourself places. Like being an adult is hard. And so trying to figure out how you're going to get groceries, recipes, and supplements and all that kind of stuff tailored to your preferences, Hungry Root has that. Their smart cart helps you with that, whether you're dairy-free, gluten-free, focus on gut health, or if you're vegan, if you're Gavin Schall, you can go check out Hungry Root and see if they'll deliver stuff to you and go and check a bunch of boxes on this quiz. I enjoyed taking it where you go through and you're like, all right, this is what I want. These are my goals. This is what I like to eat. They ask you what you don't like to eat, which is nice too. Take advantage of the exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box plus a free item in every box for life. You got to go to hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA. Use the code LockedOnNBA. It's all one word. LockedOnNBA. That's hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA. Code LockedOnNBA to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life.
Big chicken, baby.
I think a lot. I'm very smart.
Take that for that.
Count it up. Count it up. Count it up. Count it up. Count it up.
It's Count It Up, where we count the most interesting, fun things in the NBA. Victor Wembanyama, according to Maxime Aubin, a reporter for the Spurs, said that he is clear, and he did an interview with him in French, and he is cleared he's cleared to play. And then in the interview also, which is great that Victor Wembanyama is cleared to play. We're excited to see him play. I don't think a lot of people were that concerned about it, but it was always kind of like the back of your mind, like, oh, what if this The blood clots continue, which would be really scary for him.
What if he pivots into full-time monkhood? There were a lot of different questions out there. Yeah.
What if he? It sounded like he did the thing that the girl did in White Lotus, where she went there, spent a day there, and was like, you know what, that's good enough for me. And then
he was jogging with the man. I think he was there at least a week. He got into it.
Okay, he lasted longer than that girl from White Lotus. But in the interview, he was asked this question. In recent weeks, several NBA stars have been linked with San Antonio, such as Kevin Durant, who eventually left for Houston, or Giannis, still with Milwaukee. Shouldn't we have recruited a caliber of this player to the Spurs? And Victor Wembanyama says this: no, I don't think so. Breaking up your entire core for a single player rarely works, and the Spurs are masters in the art of building teams without having to go out and get too many big players or having to sacrifice the balance of the group. My question is, do you agree with Wemby that going and trading a bunch of players for one big star player doesn't work?
Ooh, okay. I thought you were going to say specifically for the Spurs. I agree with the Spurs not doing it. I think it does not have a great history, and yet I'm not always opposed to it. Like, I think the Brooklyn Nets are a great example of this, where everyone looks at them going all in for James Harden after they'd gotten Kevin Durant, after they'd gotten Kyrie Irving, and say, like, see, look how stupid it was. They rushed their timeline. They were morons. And, like, sure, like, I'm all for clowning on the Nets here at Locked On Knicks. But that's a team, like, without James Harden and Kyrie Irving both getting hurt, I think they, like, storm to that 2021 championship, and it's not, or 2022, and it's not particularly close that year. Like, I think there are times where you're in a great position to go all in. Like, I think the Thunder, not that they would have been going quote unquote all in, but like they could have made a all in type of move. Like, they could have way overpaid for someone like Trey Murphy. Maybe they win the championship even easier. Like, I think it's foolish to say that it is dumb across the board. I do agree with Wemby, who I know is also a scholar of fiction and a scholar of NBA history, that for this San Antonio team, I'm happy with the cautious approach, and I really like their offseason.
There are some obvious ones where you go through some. The Lakers trading for Anthony Davis. They won a title in 2020 because of that. You have the Raptors, who didn't like break up their whole core, but traded DeRozan for Kawhi Leonard. I don't know if that one really counts because they didn't trade a ton of pieces. The Warriors, when they got Kevin Durant, they added him, so they didn't have to give up anything, but they did not re-sign some guys because of that cap space. So I don't know if you count that one either. And then like the Bucks getting Drew Holiday. There are some kind of examples of guys giving up, players. The Celtics, they had to give up on like, Marcus Smart and others in order to go win their title. Like there's some other things that they had to do, but it's interesting to go through it. And I thought that was an interesting comment. Down one in overtime, 6.3 seconds left. Jermaine Samuels throws from the inbounds in the Hawks Rockets game, throws an inbounds pass, and it goes right into the bucket. And it does not count. My question is, why shouldn't it count? Why should it not count when the ball goes in the rim? Somebody has to just touch it. What if he just shot from there? Why does that not count?
I think because you have to give him a couple feet of space to make the inbound. If you were allowed,
I think
you should be able to submit a card to the referee before and say, "Hi, I intend to shoot this," and the defender should be alerted.
Like,
and then
he
can play defense. And if you can hit like a crazy hook shot over the defender, like let's just say in a situation where there's 0.2 seconds left, and it's either that or a tip. Like, sure, go for it. If you use your card, but if you don't use your card, no, I don't think it should count, even though it was really cool.
It's like when an offensive lineman says he's eligible downfield. You know what I mean? Like you come in and just make that. Yeah. It was just interesting to me. It's like they're like, it counts as a turnover because he made it. It should maybe at least just be a redo because it went in. Like it's just such a weird moment, but it was really very funny. Yeah. It's like one of the few times you don't want to put the ball in the basket ever.
Crazy. Yeah, it was awesome.
Thought that was hilarious. In the Pacers game versus the Bulls, Johnny Furphy caught a body, and the poster with Noah Asenge on it is maybe the worst look I've ever seen. Go find it. It's everywhere on all social media. My question is, if you were Noah Asenge, don't you fake an injury after that?
I think I go to Victor Wembanyama's monk school and I say I'm gonna learn inner balance. And I'm gonna learn not to react to circumstances, and I'm gonna take a different mental approach, because if not, I think that would probably devastate me for the rest of my life.
Just his face in there, and like, and Johnny Furphy. I mean, that's the best dunk I've seen, definitely, of summer league so far. Maybe the best dunk in the NBA for a while. Like he cocked it all the way back, and
it was angry. It was like, this was for Tyrese Halliburton, right?
Yeah, like this is for our whole season. This is for losing Miles Turner. I saw him yesterday. Yeah. Man, absolutely wild. Kevon Looney had some comments about the Golden State Warriors. He said about leaving the Warriors. He said, "It was not one moment. Like even this year, probably in the playoffs, we're going against Steven Adams. This is what I do. They're not giving me the chance to really let me do what I do. It's like, all right, y'all don't trust me. I thought y'all would trust me.
Count it up.
Does Kevon Looney have a point in this? Or do the Warriors have a point in not playing Kevon Looney? Because I don't know if he would have helped that much.
I think the premise of Quinton Post was that they were desperate for like any modicum of spacing, and the Rockets were suffocating them and getting away with war crimes against Steph Curry at times. So I understood the logic of going away from that. I do agree that sort of like the series, like if they were going to go double big, and that 2-man combo of Şengün and Adams, I think was like the best 2-man combo in the NBA down the stretch of the season. That is the time for Kevon Looney. I think he's done everything they've ever asked of him. Like he's played a role, he's embraced it. It's exactly what you hear you're supposed to do on a championship team. So I tend to trust a guy who's never complained, who's always been a good soldier. So I ride with Kevon on this one.
I saw Kevon Looney play. I saw him play up close. I saw him play many times. I think I'm with Steve Kerr on this one. Where sometimes you don't believe in a guy because it hasn't worked, and they needed size so long for so many years. And there were moments like in 2022 when he had a ton of rebounds against the Mavericks, and then against real size, he just did not show up enough. And so I think that's where it was. And it's interesting to hear a guy go, they didn't believe in me. They didn't even use me. And then you'd be like, well, there's kind of a reason maybe that they didn't believe in you, but let's see if it works for the Pelicans. Last one. Warriors guard Buddy Hield was doing an interview during a summer league game, and he's talking about his offseason travels to Rome. He said this: I was disappointed when I went to the Coliseum. Gladiator. I watched Gladiator, and I thought Maximus was a real warrior. I'm going into the Coliseum yelling, Maximus! And my tour guide was like, he's not real. My question is this more endearing or concerning that Buddy Hield thought that Maximus was a real person?
I think it is more fireable for the tour guide. You know, if you work at Disney World and you're playing like a princess, you're not supposed to tell the kid, by the way, Snow White was not a historical figure. If Buddy Hield wants to believe, he should be allowed to believe. So I'm putting that on the tour guide, and yeah, it's slightly concerning.
Yeah, why ruin his fun?
I say this as an Oklahoma fan, Oklahoma education, shout out. So
what does it change if he believes that it's real or not? Right? Like, I guess the tour guide has to be. If Buddy Hield started asking questions like, "Hey, where did Maximus actually fight in here?" You know, like that. Like then maybe you start answering the question honestly. But like, just allow him to have his fun, man.
It's just being a buzzkill. Who was the NBA player who didn't believe dinosaurs were real a few years ago? I'll figure that out. But yeah,
Michael Porter Jr.
Probably. Yeah. All right. I'll do research on that.
No, it was Kyrie, wasn't it? Didn't Kyrie say something about dinosaurs? And then he came out and said like, yeah, no, I do believe that they exist.
That would be very low on the list of things Kyrie said. So it makes sense that I forgot about that. But it was a Los Angeles Ram. That is my mistake. It was William Hayes.
Dude, oh no, you were right. It's JJ Redick and Kyrie Irving. They had that conversation on that show where Kyrie was like, I don't know that they're real, and JJ was just like cracking up, and now JJ coaches the Lakers. that was where his life was a couple years ago. Now he's coaching. He was talking about dinosaurs don't exist, and now he's coaching the Lakers. Absolutely wild. And Kyrie is now a streamer professionally. So there you go. That's game night. All kinds of great shows all across the network. Gavin Schall and Locked On Knicks. Go check out that show. What are you guys talking about this week?
We were talking about Summer League and the Summer League from hell for Tyler Kolek. So that's been fun.
We were talking about Cooper Flag. I talked about the pressure that's on him and how the Mavs can shield him from some of that pressure. And so go check out those shows. Go check out the link in the description. Go check out Locked On NBA with Doug, Hayes, and Matt. Great stuff all the time. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. Boom.